just out of curiosity, you mentioned Chandler's little sister, but given the age and circumstances of the main character, isn't it closer to Poodle Flats?
Very good. The sequel
Oh.
to the Robert B. Parker's sequel to The Big Sleep,
Yes.
I suppose. I don't really. I read it, but I don't really remember it.
Amusingly, James Caan did Poodle Flats
yeah.
for HBO back in the early 2000s, I think. Either late 90s or early 2000s. And he was just absolutely brilliant. I remember watching it. I remember reading the book and liking the book, and then watching the movie, going, "Wow, this is even better."
The actual movie, the Little Sister by Raymond Chandler, was made in 1969 starring James Garner, called Marlowe.
Yep.
Oh, you know this.
Also, elements of The Little Sister were taken for Chinatown.
I did not know that.
Now, how do you go about purchasing this ebook?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Plant.
It's completed. It's registered with the Copyright Office. I had hoped to have it on Smashwords by tonight. I knew that Smashwords is a site where you can post your ebook for free, essentially, and they take a percentage. But you have to format your book each way. For example, you have to actually format your Word text for Kindle, for Nook, for iBooks, whatever the format. And I thought I could just put a bare bones PDF file up. But no, you have to format your PDF file as well. So I do have a PDF file available, even though it has not been officially put on Smashwords yet, which it will be by the end of the month. And as a thank you to all of you for coming to see me tonight, anybody who wants one, I will gladly send you a PDF file of the books as an advance release, with my compliments for being here on this auspicious occasion.
Wow, very generous.
Before George Clooney approaches.
Yeah. I was saying earlier that my goal is that George Clooney approached me and offered me $10 million to direct.
That's a good goal.
Why not?
But as I said to the people I was talking to, and you were there, I would turn him down. I would do what Stallone did with Rocky. I would say, myself, I should play them. You have to use me. I want to do it. A lot of people have advised me that would be ill-advised. At this point in my life, and given everything I've been through, to turn down that's some from Hollywood. Now getting optioned, you know all this. I'm talking directly to you, but you know all this stuff. When you get optioned by Hollywood, they buy the right to make the movie, and it rarely gets made. So Saul Bellow said that he had the best of both worlds, because Hollywood paid money to option his books, but they rarely got made into movies and he didn't like the movie versions. I would like that. I think more cinematic. I think that, well, given my attention span is less than it was 10 years ago, and given that I think that our brains are being rewired in this MTV quick edits culture, I think something short and snappy would be better. For example, I tried reading the Thomas Hardy novel Return of the Native, and the whole first chapter describes the landscape. Now, whenever this was written in the late 19th or early 20th century,
Late 19th.
that was important, because not everybody knew what an English moor looked like, and the landscape played such an important part to the story. But now, we've all seen Hound of the Baskervilles. We know what a moor looks like. So a whole chapter describing it, I was going, get to this point, get to the story. And the same with Moby Dick. Nobody knew about whaling. Melville describes whaling in exacting detail, because most people had never been on a whaling ship. But now we've all seen. We can visualize it. We don't need to paint a word picture. Is that good or is that bad? maybe it's bad, but it is what it is.
Tom Clancy did the same with all of the technical stuff. You know? I mean, it goes into the inner workings of this
know,
particular
yeah,
tank,
yeah.
and it's like, come on, it shoots and it kills people. That's all we need to know.
Yeah, and it's
We
like
played Command and Conquer. Let's get to the violence already.
What's that from?
You've never heard of Command and Conquer? It's a computer game where you build an army and you basically wipe out your enemy. So you basically you build tanks, you raise infantry, you march off into the other side of the map. Like your enemy's here, you're here, you move all your forces to the enemy and wipe them out.
The last computer game I played was Missile Command.
Wow.
That's a classic.
So
They
I'm not
updated
up
and
on
ruined
it.
it.
Did they? Yeah.
How do you ruin that game? I don't know.
But that sounds very interesting. But no, I haven't heard
You
of
have to manage resources, build a base, and raise an army.
Wow.
But there is a lot to be said for the pulp dictum of shooting the sheriff in the first chapter.
Yeah. That's true. Another thing I realized after writing it, you can write a story in New York where you have crooked cops. It's a big city. Jersey City is relatively small. The police don't come off in the best light. And I lived there.
The mayor doesn't come off in the best light either.
Oh, new
He
mayor.
lives there. So.
Tell you from personal experience, it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah, well, as a bow to,
we had to turn our eyes sometimes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, as a bow to, not political correctness, but I have the obligatory scene where our hero is warned off the case by the cops.
Okay.
So I have a sympathetic character who proves to be an ally as a black uniformed officer, and the evil guy is an Irish American guy. So that's my So where did I leave off?
So through the process of writing this, I mean, obviously you had to walk around, set some scenery, figure out where you wanted certain scenes to take place. Did you have to rewrite the geography at all for any of the scenes?
I did. It was necessary that, well, not really, but it was necessary that the villains live in a small brownstone, and they all lived in the same building for a specific reason. So I did alter. I described an area of the harbor where where it's more high rises than those type of buildings. But yeah, it's not, when I reread it, I said I'm not really doing what Chandler did. I'm not really evoking Los Angeles in the 30s and 40s. I'm just kind of like wandering around. It's kind of like a Bob Hope movie. I'm just kind of walking around, like My Favorite Blonde or something. I'm kind of this wisecracking. The character is this wisecracking guy caught up in this adventure and manages to survive.
Road to Marrakesh, huh?
Yes, yeah.
I'm possibly the road to Weehawken.
Yeah.
So you kept it all in basically one general area.
One general area, and within a very short time frame, like a few days.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Question.
Yeah, what gave you the idea that to start off with, I've survived, this is my past week, it's been a hell of a week, but what gave you the idea, to tie into making a thriller of...
It's, I'm a big fan of, and I know a lot of people don't like this, but I'm a big fan of breaking down the fourth wall and speaking directly to the reader. So I'm the type of reader, even when I was a more voracious reader, I could never get lost in a book. I'm envious of writers like Tolkien and others who write these 1,000-page tomes, and you get transported into a whole realm. I can't do that right now. When I was reading, even as a kid, I was always aware that I was holding a book in my hand. I was reading, in addition to the story, I was reading for the pleasure of the writing. So noises on the street and everything, I didn't get immersed. I can get immersed in a movie, I can get transported in a movie, but I could never get transported in a book. So a running joke is that I know I'm writing a book and I know you're reading it. It's like Road to Morocco, when Bob Hope turns to the audience and says, "Don't worry, guys. I read the screenplay and we survived."
Just have a question.
May the script be with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The classic question I ask every writer.
Yeah.
Do you write in silence or do you write with music?
I write with both. No. I write in silence and I rewrite and edit with music. I went through the draft preparation for tonight, or preparation for putting it in a PDF file, while listening on a loop. Two things. In the background, I had the screen minimized. I listened to the third trailer of The Man of Steel over and over and over again. That really sold me on the movie. I wasn't that impressed with the first two, but the third trailer is I will find him, and it's great music. I don't know whether that music is going to be in the movie. Often it's just music in the trailer is not used in the story. And I also listened to over and over in a loop the end credits scene cast, listing of Iron Man 3, which they take the Iron Man 3 theme and they turn it into kind of like a 70s jazz thing, and the credits are kind of like a 70s cop show. Do you remember?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Yes.
And it's a very good piece of music. The actual piece of music is called Can You Dig It? And it's a jazzy, retro 70s, funky...
Zooming in pictures from the movie.
Exactly.
Things
so I played that in a
happened,
loop over and over, probably driving my downstairs neighbor crazy as I reread the manuscript. So yes, I write in silence and with sound.
You mentioned you did nonfiction as well.
Yes. But that's something I don't like to talk about.
In that case, I
will.
See, because when I write nonfiction, I usually have music on when I write fiction. I don't want it to disturb the scene. So.
Right.
What is your nonfiction about?
Well, as I said, I wrote these books called Everything Books. It was work for hire, which is the lowest rung of a freelance writer. You get paid a flat fee to write 100,000 words in 3 months, and you do all the writing, research, and fact checking, and then you submit it to the publisher, and they edit by committee, and several months later you get back a box of 20 books with your name on it that so often bears a little resemblance to what you gave them. And therefore, I'll own up to making some typos and even a couple of factual errors, but these youngsters in their 20s made it worse. And therefore, but since my name is the only name on it, I suffer the wrath of the Amazon reviewers.
What subjects have you
I wrote the Everything Philosophy book, the Everything Great Thinkers book, the Everything Mafia book, 101 Things You Didn't Know About the Mafia, and then my two later efforts as things were crumbling around like Krypton. The opening scenes of Man of Steel. I wrote the Everything Alternate Careers book and the Everything Government Jobs book. And after the Everything Government Jobs book, I was not invited to write another book for them. And I was hitting a midlife crisis. And when you're poor, your midlife crisis usually doesn't involve
cars.
It's cars and younger women. It involves depression, trips to the ER with panic attacks that you think are heart attacks.
That's rough.
It was. My two cats saved me, and
they do that. Don't
yeah, and I found them both on the streets of Jersey City. And in March, I had to have one euthanized, and it was a blow unlike anything I have ever felt. I didn't have ink in my printer. I was going to print out the cover and the dedication page. And the dedication page, the book is dedicated to Diva the Cat, 2003 to 2013, because she kept me alive long enough to finish this book. Because I wrote a passage about her in the book, when I was at my lowest ebb, and had lost all hope, I'd see this little cat in the room and realize that there was a life that depended on it. And I couldn't go. I couldn't leave her alone. And it was heartbreaking because I thought she would be around a lot longer than... I had her for 8 years. I found her on the street. But the vet told me she was about 2 when I got her. So she was only 10, which is not, elderly by any means. I've known people with cats 16, 17 years. So that was a crushing blow that I'm not fully recovered from. But I have another cat that my cameraman, my director, met today picking me up here. And I feed the strays in Jersey City. I always walk around with a couple of cans of food or dry food in my hand. And I like cats more than I like people.
You must love the internet.
Facebook, I mean.
Nothing but kitties.
Yeah.
The internet is made of cats.
What?
I feel bad for introducing you to Facebook.
Yes, another addiction. You've known me for 40 years. No, you've longer than that. Longer than we both care to admit.
Yeah.
You've known me since 1971. No, you should join Facebook. That slowed down the writing process.
Slows down everything.
But if anybody comes back to me and says, I'm currently, collecting disability for valid reasons, if Social Security ever came to me and said hey, wait a minute, you just wrote a book. How many hours a week did you spend writing a book? I would count it to them. It's not how many hours a week, it's how many minutes a year.
Yeah.
Because I started writing this in like 2006 or so, and it's only 150 pages.
Wow.
So, but I believe that I cracked a significant psychological block. You've known me since I was writing a book in high school.
Yes.
And now I finally finished it. So now, the best is yet to come, babe, and won't it be fun?
You broke through that video, that thing where the guy goes charging through the paper. I don't know if you've ever seen like the commercials.
Yeah.
Where he's doing some sort of a motorcycle jump and he goes through he broke through that barrier.
Yeah. I broke through the green ceiling. Your Irish American mother telling you, I'll tell you a story since this is confession time. And I have been known to get up in front of groups of people who drink coffee out of paper cups and tell all the secrets of their lives. If you understand that cryptic reference. When I was a kid, I can't show this video to my sister now. When I was a kid, young, like maybe 10 or so, I told my mother that I wanted to be a writer. And she said to me, don't. And I said, why? Are you afraid that I'll fail? And she said, no. I think you would be very successful, but I know you, and I know what you write will be weird. And that will reflect badly on me. And even though that was said to me over 40 years ago, we internalize things like that.
Yeah.
They stay with us. They're in your musculature. So it's, and this woman has been dead for 20 years. So there you go. The original dedication was to my mother. Thank you for making me who I am today. But she got bumped in favor of my cat, and she will get an honorable mention in the sequel. So yes, it's.
What's her interpretation of weird?
Me.
Oh, she put it right now.
What you've just seen. Yeah. And then I thought to myself, I've been accused of having a healthy ego and being somewhat of a narcissist, and I look at my circumstance in life and I say, geez, I obviously loathe myself as much as I love myself. I gotta tip the balance of loving and lower the balance of loathing, and then watch out.
If you figure out the secret of that, you'll be a millionaire.
Yeah.
The loathing hasn't worked.
No.
It never does.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things we all do.
It's a big waste of energy.
Stand up to your demons like you do to the street punks.
Well, like Gandalf, fly, you fools.
Yeah.
Yes, but you got to do that without getting dragged into a pit by a Balrog.
But I've emerged as Mannion the White.
Yeah.
Well, it just goes to show, like, you, like Gandalf, have found a better brand of laundry detergent. Because that's really what it was. It was a plug for Gain laundry detergent, Purex or something.
I don't know where we are on time. What's the moderator thing?
We're hiding in the back.
It's 9:12.
Yeah,
Okay.
they usually try and wrap us up at 9:20, 9:25. Final questions, final answers, final...
Yes. A question.
yes.
Since before your star was born, I have awaited a question.
What's the first thing that you remember reading?
The first thing that I remember reading. Well,
Probably wasn't the first thing you read, but it was
Yeah.
the first thing that you remember that stayed with you.
I wrote a short essay in second grade on Romeo and Juliet and denounced it as boring drivel.
I don't blame you, it's the same way.
And it wasn't we had to pick a book. I chose that. So
How was that received?
it was received actually not bad. Yeah.
That's good.
After all, the teacher
By
probably considered
sister
the
so and
source.
so.
Yes,
Was it?
yeah.
Wasn't it a non?
As I get older and look back at my schooling, this gentleman and I went to the same high school. My nickname, I always tend to look at you because you know what I'm talking. Well, everybody does, but I was called number 6 in high school.
Well, that one I don't know.
The prisoner.
The prisoner?
Patrick McGowan and the president.
I will
I stumped
candidly
him.
admit to not having seen the prison. I
Oh
saw
my
it.
God!
No.
What?
Get out! You are no longer welcome in this club.
You're the head of
You do
this
not
club and
belong
you're
to this club if you don't know the prisoner. For
One of the most
harmony's
famous
sake.
mind screws on television.
Yes,
No.
I've seen parts of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
Wow.
Really serious. Yeah.
Well, it aired on Channel 13 in 1978, although it aired originally in the 60s. And we watched it, and I was nicknamed number 6, which I took as a compliment.
Yeah.
But actually, thinking about our high school,
Tribute was pretty good.
did you take philosophy with Father Maloney? I don't remember you in the class. Well, what I liked about you were in psychology with Father Coyne.
Yes.
In senior year, I took a lot of college level courses, and 2 priests taught psychology and philosophy. And the thing that took me years to learn that impressed me is that they taught it as a straight out college course.
Mhm.
They did not infuse any theology into it, like Father Coyne did not say, here's what Freud thinks, but that's all wrong. You know,
Right.
they just taught it. So in 1979, Life of Brian came out, and there was a big hullabaloo.
Yeah.
The pastor of not our parish, St.
St.
John's,
Margaret's.
St. Margaret's, for bad kids. We were there. You were there with me.
Yeah.
Go to see it at the Dale.
They were sure the priest was trying to not let us go see Life of Brian. So some student asked my philosophy teacher, "What did you think of Life of Brian?" And he said, "It's a great movie, and you should all go see it. It doesn't make fun of God, it makes fun of people, and there's nothing wrong with making fun of people." And I have lived by that precept, lo these many years. So that was actually very progressive for a Catholic school in 1979.
Yeah.
So.
Especially since you reminded me of Mr. Baisley with the, remember the kid didn't have his shirt button on, it was unbuttoned, he had the tie pushed up.
Yeah.
We had a dean of discipline. He
Yeah.
picked this kid up by the left hand off the floor, feet dangling, and belted him across the face.
I remember
with his
that.
Right.
Wow.
If I hadn't seen it myself, I would have sworn it was a total story.
Yeah.
But it was like, I was shocked.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Especially after we came out of the same grammar school and they were ultra-liberal Catholics.
Yes, it was the post-Vatican II wolf in sheep's clothing
Yeah.
kind of were the new breed.
Button-down shirts, no clerical collars. And
Oh no, they had the clerical collars, but they fancied themselves quite hip.
Jeez, no wonder
Yeah.
some Catholic school kids become atheists.
Well, I'm not an atheist. I learned about spirituality not through 12 years of Catholic education, but going through alcoholism and recovery in the 90s, and I have a sense of spirituality. I could tell you lots of ghost stories. I believe this more things in heaven and earth ratio, since you like my Hamlet references, but not necessarily, no, not the way the big three monotheistic religions put it forth. But I think there's other forces at work, but I don't presume to know what they are. It's incomprehensible to the mind of man. We'll all find out soon enough, and I'm in no hurry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The information's unavailable to you.
Yeah.
As I like to say.
Access denied.
And
Locked file.
File 404. Page not found. I like to jokingly say that the creator can get on with the business of managing the universe so long as he lets me manage my life.
Mm-hmm.
The Almighty is AFK.
Ah.
The Almighty is who? Young man?
AFK, away from keyboard.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder if the universe isn't headcack.
Sheldor AFK.
Well, I don't even know what that means.
Problem exists
We're
between a
old.
keyboard and chair.
He's what?
It's an IT term. The problem exists between a keyboard and chair.
Or picnic. Problem in chair, not in computer.
Yes.
Okay. I used to play Missile Command and Joust.
Joust. The ostriches. Great kid.
Wow, Missile Command changed my life. That's how, remember Sue?
You want this to turn into Falcon Crest? You know, I don't remember the story. I was there.
I was gonna say, I think they just blinked the lights.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Last call. Anybody who wants to give, I don't know how we can work this, but you can like the Little Sister page on Facebook, and I'll send you the PDF through the Facebook's internal email. If you're not on Facebook, and you shouldn't be, because it's a very silly place.
It's like Camelot.
That's right. That's what I will.
On second thought, let's not go there. It's a silly thing.
Send me an email rather than collecting all of your emails. JamesMannion@AOL.com, or become my Facebook friend, and I will send you a PDF file of the book in advance of its publication as a thank you for it.
Now, how can we promote the book?
Ebooks is, it's so new. They say one of the best ways is the old commercial. You tell your friends, and they'll tell two friends, and so on and so on and so on and so on. No, just tell people. Just tell people.
Send it to the thing.
Tell them. Let's just say something. Tell all your Facebook friends. Some of them I'd like to meet. Tell them about me.
Tell all the people you know gossip a lot, and that will go
Tell the librarians about me.
Well, right here. You go.
Well,
I like my librarian.
yeah, but the problem is,
What?
My librarian's no longer on Facebook.
Oh.
yeah, but we would need a paper copy.
He's a librarian.
We would need a paper copy. I don't know that I would have any. I don't know how Overdrive chooses its books. Overdrive is the ebook provider for the Bergen County Cooperative Library
really?
System.
Okay. Well, my goal is to, when I have the means, to do printing on demand as well.
Okay.
So let's all stay close and keep in touch,
and I hope things go better for you.
Well, so do I.
Because you've been through some really hard times.
Well, all great writers go through that, don't they?
Yeah, but quite frankly, I'd rather be a successful hack than a tortured genius that's acknowledged
Living on
posthumously.
locusts and honey in the wilderness.
What?
Living on locusts and honey in the wilderness.
Well, that's my Facebook thing. I don't put any personal information, although I've just revealed my soul to you here. And I'm going to put this on Facebook and YouTube, so with your permission.
That's
But my Facebook location is currently a mad hermit living on locusts and wild honey in the wilderness. But like John the Baptist, I have come out of the wilderness to address.
In this Old Testament journey.
You can begin gathering cicadas. I hear they're
I hear it.
tasty.
Well, people do eat them.
Yes, roasted.
Although they said that they were predicting something like some trillion
Yeah, like a plague.
cicadas, and they said it's been kind of underwhelming this year.
Mhm.
You know, the 17-year thing is
Yeah.
supposed to be this, and it was kind of underwhelmed.
Well, they
should
should
have
gotta start
plenty of
taxing.
locusts.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you, the locusts have been hit pretty hard by groundwater pollution.
Okay.
Good.
Well, that means us too.
Not good.
Obviously, but it's
Not good
short-term
for
solution.
Not good, because locusts are completely harmless.
Yeah.
And other creatures eat them.
Right.
Yes.
So
They're
they,
quite delicious.
Yeah, so they
100%
are.
protein.
100%.
So they are the,
maggots.
It's a food source for other
Olive
animals
oil,
that aren't
you know.
gonna
especially
have
birds.
Yep.
Little olive oil, a little garlic.
Which of course, you know, has been being eaten by all stray cats, so.
Well, it's the circle of life.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is.
which we
Cats gotta
completely
eat.
destroyed by
Rats over
spreading
there.
cats all over the
You didn't
place.
get rats. Been run over
The
by
most
that.
aggressive, the second most aggressive species on Earth.
Cats?
Yep. First
Yeah,
one
cats
being
kill
humans.
birds. My
Well,
cats are
you can't-
indoors.
you can't
Was
blame
there
cats
a
for
myth
acting like
about
cats.
the
No, I know.
bubonic plague in
I don't
cats?
at all. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
They
They
blaming
get the
Like
cats to get the rats.
It was the hysterical extermination of cats during the Middle Ages
Oh yeah.
that
That
increased the
caused-
rodent
yes.
population.
Yes.
You
Plague, yeah.
answer you answer you answer my sentences.
I complete you.
Besides, I'm sure you'd much
Checklist.
rather have feral cats around the dumpsters than rats.
Oh yes, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about the cat population. I'm just pointing out.
It looks like
As
the
someone pointed out, if cats en masse develop a taste for human flesh, they have the capacity to wipe out the entire species in 30 years. So,
Well, the problem is they're too small for that.
Well,
don't put it past them. They do kill for pleasure.
Next. Cats who develop neck technology.
I know that I have a theory. If a dog became the size of a bear, it probably would not kill its master.
No.
I have no doubt that if my cat became the size of a tiger, it might. The one I have now, not the one that passed
Well,
away.
if
I hit my dish now. You know what that means?
If the cat became the size of a tiger, it might not recognize you because it's used to you being bigger.
Yeah.
Also, if it does recognize you, it would likely still be under the impression that you're bigger because it's used to you being bigger.
Thank you. I feel
wanna-
so much better.
Hey, you want to test that hypothesis?
Of course, when it goes to sit in your lap, you might get crushed.
Yeah.
So that could be a problem. And on that note.
Yes. Thank you all. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
That's what.
Thank you.